teach you stuff. So this first one says solve by graphing. You did this on your quiz. All I need for you to do is look. Just look. That's all I'm asking for you to do. Are you looking? So I'm going to go and type in. And why can I just go ahead and type this in? Like, what's kind of nice about how that's written? Look at your paper. Like, what's good about it? It equals 0 already. So are you guys looking? Look. What part of the graph do I click on? All right, so bless you. What is this first one? Write that down. -3 is the first one. All right, and then this one says 0.5. Do you know what that is as a fraction? Half. Good. All right, so we got -3 and 1/2. Did I do any work? Nope. I typed it in the calculator. All right, now I'm going to try that again. This one also equals 0, which is nice. Are you looking? All right, so it's 2x squared minus 8x plus 1. I'm going to click on the x-intercepts. Look. See what that came out to? Go ahead and write it down. It's 0.129. That's the second one that we did. And, all right, now let me click on the other one. Do you see this one? Look, 3.871. Enough.
Dude, I talked to the son that said that. He said he was saying that to drive.
Quiet. Now, these actually aren't the ends of those decimals. Those decimals go on forever and ever and ever. So why did these ones come out nice and these ones came out not so nice? Well, if you were to try and factor this, draw your X box, what would go on the top of the X box? Why is it -6? You have to multiply those two together. Very good. What number would go on the bottom? 5. Do you see that? And so you could do 6 minus 1 and get 5. In other words, you could do that by factoring. It would work out. Yes, you're not, but just listen. So they would both have to be positive, 3 plus 2 to get 5, but it's a -6. But that's an excellent question. I'm glad somebody thought to ask that. Group in the back, you guys are going to be the reason we have to go back to rows because you won't stop talking while I'm talking. Now look what happens with this one, because I want you to understand this. What number would have to go on the top of the X box for this one? 2 times 1, and then on the bottom, -8. The only numbers that multiply together to equal 2 would be 1 and 2. Why does that not work? Yeah, 1 plus 2. I mean, even if you made them both negative, is not going to be -8. So it will not work. Not everything is factorable. They don't all work out. And that's why they came out to these weird decimals. So if it doesn't factor, we have this formula called the quadratic formula. These are quadratic functions that you can plug into instead. You do not need to memorize this. I realize it's a long formula, but all you have to do is plug numbers in. So we're just going to try a few of these. Do you see how that equals 0? Good. We don't need to maneuver anything. We're just going to list out A, B, and C. A is 3. It's whatever's in front of the x squared. B is 16. C is 2. Literally, you are just going to slam those numbers into this formula and get your answers. Okay? So look, it starts out with -b. What did we just write that b is for our problem? Do you see that? But it's going to be -16. Do you see where I'm getting that from? Literally just right there. -16. Now, do you see how there's a plus and a minus? That's what gives you 2 answers. One comes from the plus and one comes from the minus. Are you with me here? You need to pick up something to write with. None of you are holding a pencil. This is ridiculous. You are not in elementary. Actually, elementary school kids would write it down. So what's going on with you? Then you're going to have a gigantic square root. And underneath of it, what does it say? I literally just want you to read. Okay, it says b squared. What are we going to put though? 16 squared. Very good. And don't worry about that because we have a calculator. Can you hold on until I finish this thought? Then it's I know, let me just finish writing the line. Minus 4 times A. What is A for us? We wrote it down. A is 3. And then times C. What is C for us is 2. Good. Thank you for letting me finish that. Go ahead and ask your question. It's a plus and a minus. I already explained that. That's why you get 2 answers. One comes from the plus and one comes from the minus. I'm going to show you in the calculator if we ever eventually finish a problem. All right, gigantic fraction bar, and it's over 2 times A. So what is A for our problem? 3. Now we're going to rely heavily on the calculator for most of this. It's negative 16 plus and minus square root. Now I'm going to go and type this in the calculator. All you have to do is watch. Now, when you do this on your own for your classwork, you're going to have to type it in. But for right now, can you just watch? I'm going to type it exactly like it looks. 16 squared minus 4 times 3 times 2. See how I did that? Click, click, click in the calculator. What do we get? 232. Very good. That's what we're going to write right here. 232 over. Now, hopefully you don't need a calculator for 2 times 3. What is that one? Good. Now off to the side, you're going to build 2 houses. Oh, do you remember we played the unfair game last time? And we reviewed this a little bit? You with me here? So I don't expect that you know all the numbers that go into 232. So look, I'm going to do 232 divided by x, make a table. Well, 15 is not a perfect square, so that won't help us. If you know,
16.
I think it might just be 4. Yeah, I don't see 29 is not going to work. Yeah, it's just going to be 4 and 58. Do you see that right there? Are you seeing it on the table? All right. Now, why'd I pick 4? Why on earth would I pick 4? Perfect square. Good, we got there. So it's going to be negative 16 plus and minus. Now, what is your square root of 4? 2. So it's going to be 2. Square root of 58 is, just there. Over 6. And then there's one last step. You can't touch what's inside the square root. But do you see 16, 2, and 6? What do those all divide by? 2. This is reducing the fraction. You know how like 4/8 reduces to 1/2? You're going to divide those all by 2. So that would give you negative 8 plus and minus. Now what's 2 divided by 2? It's 1. You typically don't see the 1 written out front of that. You could put a 1 in front of it if you want. And then over 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's the answer. I know it doesn't look pretty, but that's why they come out to weird decimals. Let's try it again. Does this one equal 0? Great. What is A? Negative. Good. Okay, I got you listening to me. B is negative 8. C is 4. Don't be too proud to write that down, so you don't mess it up. All right, now we're going to go and use our formula. You don't have to memorize it. You just need to be able to read. What is the first thing the formula says? Negative B. Now, what is B that we just wrote down? Now, that would be negative 8. So positive 8. Very good. What comes after that? I just want you to read. Plus and minus. Good. That's the reason there's 2 answers. Square root, gigantic square root, and then underneath of it. Good. And you need parentheses. If you don't put parentheses when you type it in the calculator, it's not going to give you the right answer. Could you pick up the pencil for me? Thanks. Minus. All right. What comes next? I just want you to read. You don't even have to know anything. You just have to read this. 4 times. What's A for us? Negative 2. Good. And then times C, which is 4. Over 2 times A, which is negative 2. I realize that looks awful, but we're going to use our calculator. It's 8 plus and minus square root, and I'm going to just type that in. When you do this on your own in a few minutes when we finish here, you're going to have to do this on your own. But for right now, you can just watch. All right. Type it exactly like it looks with parentheses and all. Otherwise, it's not going to give you the right answer. Negative 8 squared minus 4 times negative 2 times, what was it? 4. I'm going to read it correctly. See what we got? It's a 96. You're kind of in the back there, so, but you're paying attention to me, so I appreciate you. 96 over, all right, what do we got in the denominator? I hope we don't need a calculator for that. -4. Good. All right, off to the side, we're going to build two houses. I don't expect that you know all the numbers that go into 96. I don't expect that you do. I just want you to look up here. Well, we need numbers that are perfect square. It might just be 4. I don't remember. You need bigger than 4. Good. Do you see that? 6 and 16. Good job. I'm going to put the 16 first. That was good. I'm impressed. I thought I was going to have to pull teeth on that. Why did we pick 16? Like, why 16? Perfect square. All right. So whenever you do this, it's going to be 8 plus and minus. What is your square root of 16? 4. Good. 4 square root of 6 over -4. Now you reduce it. You can't touch what's inside the root. But what do the rest of these divide by? 8, 4, and -4 will all divide by 4. So 8, actually we're going to divide by -4. 8 divided by -4, -2, plus and minus. Now this would end up being 1. You can write the 1 if you want, but usually you don't see that. And then -4 divided by -4 is also 1. So again, you can put it over 1 if you want, but typically you don't see that 1 written in there. I finally got you listening to me. That's good. If you continue listening, we'll just do this one and then the one on the back. As long as you understand how to do it. I'll fill this one in and put it on Schoology. All right. What is A for this one? It's a little tricky. It's what's in front of the x squared. What? Good. B is also kind of tricky for this one. Could you pick up the pencil? B is whatever's in front of the x. And there isn't one. So what do you think? So it can't be 1 if there isn't it there at all. So 0, there just isn't one. Good job. And then C is -40. Now, I don't want to keep moving the paper up and down, make you seasick. You have the formula there at the top of your paper, but just read it. What's the first thing it says? Good. -B. For us, that would be -nothing, which is just nothing. All right. Plus and minus, gigantic square root. Now just read it. What does it say under there? Good. For us, that would be 0 squared. It's going to end up being 0. Well, you can just put 0 if you want then. Up to you. All right. Minus, what comes next? 4 times 1. Oh, you guys are getting it. Good. Times. Perfect. Over 2 times 1. All right. So that's nothing. I'm not even going to write it. I'm going to just put plus and minus. Square root. And again, in a minute here, when you guys are doing this on your own, you're going to have to type it. But for right now, you can just watch me. All right, you guys got upset about the 0 squared and said that's dumb, so I won't type that part. We'll just do -4 times 1 times -40. What did you call me? I know, I was joking. What'd we get? 160. See that?
Let's go.
Over, all right, what's in the denominator? 2. So draw yourself 2 little houses. Now this one we might be able to get through without the calculator, because I don't expect you to know all the numbers that go into 160, but there's a pretty obvious one. No, more obvious than that.
4.
16 times 10. Very good. Thank you. So plus and minus, what is your square root of 16? 4 square root of 10 over 2. And then again, you just reduce it. You can't touch what's inside the square root. Shush. But 4 divided by 2 is 2. So you get plus and minus 2 square root of 10. What you're finding are the x-intercepts that don't come out to real nice numbers. That's why I started out with this up here. See how they come out to weird decimals? And I'm about to show you it in the calculator. all I need for you to do on this one is look. Can you just look so you understand this? Because on your SOL, this is what it's gonna be like. What's nice about how that one is written? Equals 0, good, all right, so let me type that in. 8x squared. If you didn't listen to anything else I said, at least get this, because you can do this on your SOL for the calculator, all right? So do you see how I'm gonna click on these and it gives me these weird decimals? So what you can do is type each of the answer choices and pick the one that matches. What's the first one there? 8? Now, you can't do plus and minus. Are you listening to me? Because I know someone's going to ask me this on the test. Where's the plus and minus button? There isn't one. You have to pick one or the other. So let's do plus. Well, we're going to do both, but you have to do them separately. You can't do it together. Yes.
So if we do the plus, right, and we finish the rest of the problem, can we just interchange it with the minus?
Yes, exactly. Thank you. That's what I'm going to do. Can you guys all watch? So do you see how I did 8 plus 2 square root of 14, and then it's over? Can you just read it off the paper so I know you're paying attention to me? 16, do you see that? See how it came out to 0.967? Or if you're not in the back, you might not be able to see that. Do you see how that does not match with either of these? So it's not A, cross out A. Let's try B. So let me change this. B says 2, and I'm gonna do plus square root of 14 over 4. Do you see that? 1.4. Now, don't stop listening to me because I need you to understand this. Do you see how that matches this one? Now, if I go back and change that to a minus, do you see how it matches the other one?
So it is that.
Correct. It is B, the plus. And do you understand that the plus and the minus is why it's two different answers?
Yes.
This one's the plus and that one's the minus. So on your SOL, you can just type it in and match it up on the calculator.